Hey y'all, from Spindle Mountain Mercantile, I am Heather. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm super excited about today's project, so we're just gonna jump right into the making. Project number 1.
My mama bought me this little bell to make some things at Christmas, and I did not have enough time. This is a spool from my stash. Don't know how old it is, but it was only 15 cents at the time. I think I got these off the side of the road, but they look so old. I'm wondering if I dumpster dived for them. And this is just a little Valentine I cut out after I printed it from the graphics fairy. Poor Hamlet's dying because I won't pick him up. This is ribbon I got on Amazon, and it was a pretty good deal. Lots of different colors at a good price. I will leave you a link in the description for that. My thought is I would tuck this flower behind here. I would just leave this in the front. I think the green has to go up into the middle. I'm not sure. I might can bend at those, but I'm going to see what it looks like in here without being glued first.
My hope was to put the stem of the flowers inside the spool, but it just was a little too tall for that. When you make something like this, I recommend putting it together several different ways and then looking at it to see what you like best.
I like it. It really does cover up that pretty little Valentine. Let's see what happens like this. I really want to put that red one in there, but maybe it rolling off continually means I'm not supposed to use it, you think?
After looking at several different designs, I decided on this one without the red spool and with the flowers laying on their side.
I should probably go on this side. It looks like there's more room over here that it won't be hidden. I am just going to curve these edges a little bit from the bottom like a bell shape, which I think is appropriate. I'm going to barely glue this onto that. Just a tiny bit of glue. I really like how this pink spool is hidden behind the flowers. So I'm just going to add glue to this. Put it right here. I think I'll add some glue to the leaf because it's the flattest part and I don't really need to glue down the flowers. I think they're going to stay in place. I do want to make sure all of the strings are gone before I seal the lid. I think that's good. Okay. You know what? This does need to be glued because I want it to stay further back here. There we go. Oh, I'm so excited about this. This is darling. Oh, you guys, it's so cute. I'm going to cut this a little bit more because it's hitting the glass.
Continue checking out your design as you go to make sure that everything fits the way you want it to and nothing is too smushed or there's not too much space in one area.
You guys, that is so dang cute. That is just stinking cute.
Are you picking up how much I love this project? I mean, I can't help it. It's just so, well, I said it, cute. Even after everything was glued together, I kept putting it back together to see if it fit, and I realized it needed one more thing.
I feel like the back needs just a little something. I think this will work. These are just pieces that came apart when I cut off the back of a flower. I think if I just glue a couple of these, I'll glue one at the bottom here, and then I'll glue one above it. A little touch of glue here. Boy, I'm gonna have to make sure all these strings are gone, right? Ugh. Have you ever made something and glued it closed and then you realize it's sealed and you can't get those strings out? Well, I have. I've experienced that. Maybe this here to cover them all up. Or this one. Oh, you know what? Yes, I like this one best. Let's cut the back off of this more. If you don't cut them too much, it will keep the integrity and not fall apart. You just can't cut it really, really close. Pretty close, but not really, really, really close. Now the back's pretty. Oh, and I even like how it comes around. Yeah, that's good. Uh-oh. Get that to stay up there. I'm going to make sure all the strings are gone. I keep wanting to ask y'all if you see any. See, you're all real to me.
You can use a heat gun to remove those glue strings immediately, but I'm holding it up to the light and doing it by hand because I don't want to take a chance that something in there might melt, like even the cork, or the thread, or the flowers. It takes a little bit longer this way, but it's well worth it instead of taking that risk.
I don't need this to be really thick. but I don't want it to come off either.
It's okay if you can see the glue through your bell right here because we're going to cover it up with that velvet ribbon. Still, I don't want it to be so messy that when I push the bell down over the cork, it smushes out the bottom too much. I did have a little bit of that, but it just peeled off very easily. You have to do this part kind of fast. It's hard to get the glue around there super fast and then put the bell on really quick. You don't want to do it too fast or you'll get it crooked, which I did just a little bit. It's okay, you can't tell in the end, but I knew it.
It's a little crooked. It's a little bit crooked. And I'm getting glue everywhere.
To attach the ribbon, I started on the side and I did one section at a time so the glue wouldn't get hard and I could smush it down. Since the bell has a shape that tapers in as it goes up, the ribbon will be a little bit wrinkly on the top, and that's okay. I don't care as long as the glue is covered up and it looks pretty.
Just trying to line it up with the bottom of the cork. I don't remember where Mama got this. I want to say Michael's.
I searched for some on Amazon, and the closest I could find to the bells were these cloches. They have a lot of different sets, though. I will leave a link for these in the description. Anything you buy from Amazon by using my link to get there, they will give me a small compensation, but they won't change your price. This is the most important thing to look for when you do that. Find the picture that shows the sizes and shapes and all the information you need to see, not just read, but look at. Make sure you get exactly what you want for your project. I overlapped the end of the ribbon over the front so that I can roll it over itself and hem it, and that way you can't see the raw edge. I didn't do it right now because I didn't want to take a chance some of that other wet glue would come through and make the velvet ribbon look dirty. I'm cutting the ends of the ribbon at an angle so that they won't fray so easily. I'm not sure what this knot is called. I just pulled the ends together and then I wrapped them together around themselves and pulled the ends back through the loop. Of course, you could make a pretty bow for that. What I originally planned was to do that upside down so the bow was at the top of the bell, but I couldn't figure out how to do that. Instead, I decided to use the third flower, and I think that looked really cute. I did not glue it down. I just wrapped the wire around the little loop on the bell, and that way it can just lay wherever it looks best naturally. I cleaned everything up and it was finished. Now you tell me, what word would you use repeatedly to describe how you feel about this Valentine bell? Project number 2.
When I grabbed this fabric, I thought it was drop cloth. It's not. It's, you know what I think it is? I think it's that fabric from a hospital with those really thick sheets. You know, the ones they put in the heater and bring to your bed and you're like, oh, thank you, thank you. That one. That's the kind of fabric I think it is. I'm going to make a ruffle. I don't want it to be huge. This is my second time trying this, and this is the first ruffle I made. I think it's just a little bit too wide, not a ton. So I think I'll probably just start about right here. This fabric tears very easily. Oh, and y'all, look what my mama got me for Christmas. They're real cutting scissors for fabric. They were even in the box. I told her just give me a pair of her old ones if she was going to give me some at Christmas. I don't know if I'm still entitled to such of a nice thing. I am the reason we do not have nice things. She bought me these and she attached this. Can you read that? Think, is that fabric? Thanks for the reminder, Mama, and thank you so much for the scissors. We're just going to rip this. Rips super easily. And when we get to the end, we are going to grab about 5 strands, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that 5? Nope, that's 4. More. All right, 5 strands, and we're going to pull them off. And I go just a little bit at a time and move my hand down like this, because if you do the whole thing at one time, it gets stuck. I'll show you if I can. Oh, I don't know if it will do it with this fabric actually. There, see, right there? It gets stuck because some of the outside ones don't come off, and then the first one wants to come off and it gets caught on that, so it kind of ties a little knot. So if you pull them with all the same width that they are on the piece of fabric as they come off at each area, it's so much easier. If you want to fray both sides evenly, count how many strings you're pulling. That way you don't have to go back and trim all the frayed edges to make them match. And I save this. This makes great twine. It's really good stuff. This is a heart I cut from a cutter quilt, and a cutter quilt is a quilt that cannot be repaired. There's no saving it. You can't salvage it. You can only throw it away or use it for a dog bed or dog bed stuffing. Or you can make something new out of the pieces that are still decent looking. So I chose to make a heart, and I just obviously didn't use a pattern. I just cut it out.
I cut along the straight edge of one block and created the rest of the heart from that.
I start at the bottom with both sides and go up. That way all the ruffles go the same direction. If you go all the way around, then this side the ruffles will go up, and over here the ruffles will go down. And I want them to all go the same. We're going to start by putting a good dollop of glue like this, and we're going to put this piece down, straight down, and I will fold the first section.
I forgot to cut the strip in half, so I'm going to go back and do that right now. I just found out where the middle was and I cut it right there.
I'm going to take more glue all the way down this piece. Take the other side and put it on top of that.
The strip of fabric I'm using is hemmed where I put the first piece down. If yours isn't hemmed, you might want to use glue to hem it so you won't have a raw edge showing from the front.
I'm kind of holding this part out as I do this so that, I don't know, it's like I can feel how far away it is right here. It's like a finger width about, and I don't care if this is perfect. If y'all want perfect, then why are you watching me? No, seriously, if you all want to have it perfect, I'm sure you could measure this and make sure it's on there just right. But I want this to look old, like somebody did it way back in the day. And you could also sew this, by the way. Don't have to use glue, but glue's so easy and it really sticks, so I use it a lot. I do have a sewing machine. I actually have a couple. Where are your little finger protectors for this that you can get at Dollar Tree, or you can get like a 10-pack on Amazon for $5 or something like that? They protect your fingertips from the hot glue. I need like a glove. I just put my knuckle down in that. It wasn't that hot. I don't use the high heat setting on my glue gun for that very purpose, or that very reason. I'm sure they make little tools you could stick in here and make sure they're all the same size.
I'm not sure if I'm explaining this very well as I'm making it, so I'm going to add this voiceover right here. Here's what I'm doing. I'm putting glue down on the outside edge of the back of the heart. Then I place that strip of fabric, the edge of it, on top of that glue, and I put my finger down on it flat and I press so it will stick to the glue. As I'm doing that, I pull a piece of fabric back over my fingernail about to my second knuckle, and then I fold that forward again, leaving a little loop over about where my fingernail ends. Then I do it all again. I lift up my finger and I press, and I probably get about 3 of those tucks and loops in there before I have to add more glue. You can add glue to the tops of the loop like this and fold that down further, so it's not so bulky, but I'm going to cut a piece of cardboard and put it over this, so I don't really think that's necessary. When you get to the top of the heart, you have to make the little loops that you're pressing down smaller, because as that fabric fans out at the top of the heart, it's going to get really wide and you won't have any folds around that very outside edge of the fabric. Now, it's going to be hard to have a very pronounced edge unless maybe you starch it and iron it. But again, I don't want this to look perfect. I want this to look like something I found in maybe a trunk from 1918. And I really don't think something like that is going to hold its starch and ironing for that long. And if there is something like that, then you please let me know about that product, because I want some.
Okay. Let's see what that looks like. I do like that. I like that so much. All right, let's keep going with this side. Oh, isn't that cute? I love this. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is adorable. All right, I have to figure out what to do up here. So I'm just going to cut away what I know is bulk.
All right, this is like the 7th time I've recorded this because it's super hard to explain how I did this part. It was easy to do, it's just hard to explain. I kept flipping it back and forth so I could see it from the front to make sure I didn't have any gaps and to make sure there wasn't a lot of bulk or extra folds where I didn't want them. I thought about gluing those two pieces together like I did on the bottom, but in the end, the way they were naturally laying after I cut off all the bulk and the corners is what worked best. I made sure from the front that the piece that was in front folded back so that it had a hem instead of a raw edge, and I glued that part that I folded back onto the back. Then I took the other piece and I laid it over that, and again, you can't see the raw edge from the front, and I glued it just like that, and that worked perfectly.
Oh, I didn't turn the camera back on, y'all. So here's what happened. I have this that I found on the side of the road, and I just cut about maybe a foot, and I glued it onto the back of this on two sides, and I put quite a bit of glue, and then I cut out this piece of cardboard that fits the back, and I put glue all the way around the edge, and then I just kind of zigzagged it through the middle, and I pressed it down. I didn't press too hard over here because the flowers are on this side, but I pressed everywhere else, especially here and here, because that will be a little bit of extra protection so that won't fall off. And look, oh my goodness, I love it so much. I really hope I showed you putting these on, but in case I didn't, this is the ribbon I found in an old trunk from a 1918 trousseau, and these are just the flower heads I bought on Amazon. These are some from the thrift store that they got from Joanne when Joanne went out of business, and I glued them all in. These are just flower heads.
A link for the flowers will be in the description. Again, make sure you go to the page that shows the size, color, dimension, everything you need to know about them and get exactly what you want.
I cut off the bottom part of the stem. Now, when you cut off the bottom, make sure they all stay together when you glue them. And you might have to glue them here and here so they all stay together. But here's our finished cutter quilt Valentine.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, I added this sweet graphic from Graphics Fairy. All I did was put a few dabs of glue on the back and I tucked one corner underneath the flowers. And now our Valentine is done. Project number 3.
I bought a bunch of these together at a place where you can put as much as you can fill into a bin for $10. And I bet I got a couple of dozen of them maybe. And I believe they were for a wedding. Used them, painted different colors and put different things in them. So my thought is I would do a few different ones of these little Valentines that I cut out from Graphics Fairy. You know what? It needs another tall one in the back. What about her? Maybe if I put her over here and this one like this so I don't cover up those pretty flowers. I'm just going to tie a regular bow like you would for your shoelaces. Try to keep the velvet side out.
And just like almost everything else I make, I kept trying over and over different pictures in different places. I was trying to find the perfect balance and I just kept looking until I did. Finally, I put one drop of glue where each picture overlaps. Then I put the whole thing very gingerly between the two rings at the top of the coil. I turned it over and glued around the back ring so the papers would be stuck in place. Then I took a wide popsicle stick that I cut down and I put it over the ring all the way up to the top of the center picture. That way, over time, it won't fall over forward or backward. I got those sticks at Hobby Lobby. I think this is the perfect Valentine for my booth. These are going to sell quickly. They didn't cost very much to make. They were super fast to make. And look how adorable they are. I just wanted to pop in and thank you all for watching this video. To those who are returning, hi again. And to the new folks, welcome. My mama and I love making all the things, and we enjoy making videos so you can see how we did that. Our subs are the best. You might want to consider joining our community. Seriously, go read those comments. Our subs help each other with everything from crafting to life advice, praying for each other, laughing with each other, and becoming friends in real life. I hope you will consider being one of us and hitting that notification bell if you subscribe, and that way you won't miss any new content. Now let's get back to the making. Project number 4.
Where y'all live, what do you call one of these? I'm from out west, and we always called them a purse, and I think up north they call it a handbag, and down here in the south they call it a pocketbook. Well, I've had this purse, handbag, pocketbook, this tote, what's for carrying stuff. I have had this in my booth for 2 years at Valentine's Day. Haven't sold it, so we're gonna give it the IOD treatment. These are from the book called, I'll add it in the voiceover right here.
It's called Rose Botanical.
Yeah, because I couldn't remember it.
In my booth in upstate South Carolina, I sell IOD, but I don't quite yet do mail order. However, in the description, I will leave a link for my friend Heather at Create Your Own Cozy. She does mail order, and if you order through my link, she'll give me a little compensation without raising your price. Applying Iron Orchid Designs transfers is super easy. Simply cut out the design you want and figure out exactly where you want it on your project. Next, peel off the white protective sheet and place your transfer exactly where you want it on your project. Give it a little rub with your palm just to make sure it has that initial stick. Next, you're going to use the little plastic stick that came in your Iron Orchid Designs transfer package. Every package has one. And of course, I have dozens of them. And do you think I can find one right now? No, I cannot. So I'm using my fingernail.
I am going to go over the edge with these leaves and stem. It's a lot easier than one might think to go over the edge with IOD. You just continue to rub, and I check to see if it's still stuck, and then I'm going to check and make sure it's coming off. And as I lift it, I'll still rub just in case it's not coming off, and it's coming off very well. This is some kind of faux leather. I guess it's pleather. I don't know. It could just be simple plastic. I have tried IOD on all kinds of stuff, and I've never had a problem. In fact, I did a video on putting IOD on all kinds of things. I'll try to remember. I'll show you a picture of it right here. I'll try to remember to put a link to that in the description, or maybe I can put a link at the end of the video. I'm learning all kinds of new stuff. So you just keep pulling the carrier sheet away from your object. And there are so many different ways to do this, but this is what works best for me. I just rub and pull. It's like, what is that from that show about the lawyer that wears pink? Bend and snap, and bend and snap. Well, you rub and lift and rub and lift. You're welcome. I think we got it. Now you have to burnish it, and a lot of people use this and you just rub it, or some people use this and rub it. I don't like to use one of these when I burnish because I don't, not on all surfaces, but on something like this I'm not really familiar with. I just like to use my fingers because sometimes when you use these, the transfer will catch and it will tear a little bit. So if I'm using my finger, I can feel right when it starts to catch and I can stop so it won't do that. Burnishing just gets all of the little nooks and crannies filled up. Make sure everything is adhered as it should be. And I think that is such an upgrade.
To seal it, I decided on a glossy clear spray. That way it would stay shiny. I just made sure not to let it get into the zipper. I have no doubt this year my handbag, pocketbook, purse, what holds all the stuff is definitely going to sell. Did y'all have a favorite today? I did. I liked them all, but for different reasons. For reals, I love making vignettes. Some people call them dioramas. I just like to take lots of little things and put them together with other little things inside bigger things. That's where my heart is. So this bell captured my heart. This is going to sell, and I love how it looks. I think other people will too, and because they're so cheap and easy, I'm making a lot more for my booth. This is not my bag. See what I did there? But I love how it turned out, and it will sell this year. This heart reminds me of those old Valentines from the turn of the last century, and I could not be happier with how it turned out. In the comments, let me know how you felt about these projects today. And until you see us again next time, we hope you have a wonderful week, and as always, we hope you are blessed. Bye.